Hi, this is Dr. Michael Edelstein, and you're listening to the REBT Advocates. And we have a change in our programming. David Ramsey Steele, the co-author of 3-Minute Therapy with me, is my new partner. So we will be moving forward to discuss REBT subjects. REBT is Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy, a pioneering type of therapy developed by Albert Ellis. I am a clinical psychologist. I have 40 years experience helping people with rational emotive behavior therapy. And you can find my practice link and 3-Minute Therapy link in the description below. And David, did you want to say a few words to introduce yourself?
I co-authored 3-Minute Therapy with Michael, as he just said. I also co-authored with him a book called Therapy Breakthrough, which goes into some of these questions more deeply. And I've written about many topics. The book I'm most proud of is my study of George Orwell, which is called Orwell, You're Orwell, which came out a couple of years ago.
Okay, thanks, David. Okay, so today we're going to be discussing a rational emotive behavior therapy approach to jealousy. So let's start with a definition of jealousy. And as we know, jealousy is an emotion, and our emotions don't come from situations. For example, suspecting that our partner is having an affair and not telling us, but rather it comes from our thinking about a situation. So normally with jealousy, the thinking is, I absolutely must be number one in my partner's eyes 101% of the time, past, present, and future. Otherwise, I'm worthless, I'm no good, I'm unlovable. And so that leads to feelings of insecurity, inadequacy. And sometimes when the must is turned on your partner, you must be loyal to me and never look at another man or another woman, then you're no good. You're rotten, and you deserve to roast in hell, and I'll roast you with anger, resentment, hostility, and worse. So that's the REBT working definition of jealousy. David, did you want to say anything about that?
Well, if we're talking about sexual jealousy, which is probably the most important type of jealousy, it seems to me there are two different things going on. One is that if your partner becomes involved with somebody else, they might leave you. So that's a fear that you have. And the other one is independent of that. You don't like them screwing around. Even if you were sure they were never going to leave you, you would still perhaps have some resentful feelings about the fact that they're enjoying the favors of some other person.
Yes, and not only because you don't like them screwing around, but then you demand, therefore, they absolutely must not screw around because you run the universe and they must do your bidding.
Right. Sounds reasonable to me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, unfortunately, it sounds reasonable to lots of people. In fact, I don't recall seeing a video on Netflix about where there were couples involved, where if one person was suspected of having an affair with someone else, the other one would not get jealous,
Right.
angry, resentful. So that just proves, as Albert Ellis would say, humans are arrant screwballs of the worst sort. People easily make themselves jealous, and most people probably think it's reasonable.
Well, I think we have to assume, unless someone comes up with a better hypothesis, that that jealousy is an innate tendency, and that it must have, over the millions of years, of evolution favored increased reproductive success.
I agree with that. That just about any emotion we feel was developed hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of years ago, because at some point it was functional. Just like eating when you're hungry, because tomorrow there might be a famine, that many, many years ago in primitive times, that was probably reasonable, but not anymore.
Yes, functional in the sense of maximizing the copying of genes, not necessarily functional in the sense of making the individual happier.
Yes, very good. Exactly. So then the issue is, if you're feeling jealous, if you're feeling insecure or resentful about your partner's behavior or thinking, what can you do about it? And the REBT answer is two-pronged. One is to identify the must. My partner must not look at anyone else there, no good. And question, challenge, contradict it, and ask yourself, although it's preferable in many ways that your partner be loyal to you, how does a preference magically become a demand? Where's the evidence they must do what you want them to do? And unless you've been elected ruler of the universe, there's no evidence. So the first step is to uproot your musts and shoulds, as usual, with disturbed emotions, and stick to your preferences. And then if you have a preference like that, which normally you do, then the solution would be to speak to your partner and discuss this preference, work out some agreements about seeing other people or having sex with other people, and then try to stick to that. And if someone strays, bring it up and try to discuss the problem and work out a better solution in the future.
Right. That sounds very sensible, Michael.
Yeah. Yes. Now, it's proof that it's not necessary to feel jealous is that there are rare people who are what they call these days polyamorous. They have sexually open relationship with their partner. They talk about it. They often meet their other lovers, and things, in rare cases, go quite well. And often they do feel jealous, but they work on it, sometimes successfully, sometimes unsuccessfully.
Right. The only qualification I would add to that is that there's a range of genetic variation in the population, and just because a few people can do something without big problems, it doesn't follow that everybody can do that thing without big problems.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And if you do have big problems, that doesn't mean you're a hopeless case. If you use REBT to work at uprooting and challenging and contradicting your demands again and again and again and again, repetition, reinforcement, and review is the way to change your thinking, and you work on that, then there's a reasonable chance you could minimize that.
Right.
Now, a behavioral, so we've been discussing the cognitive aspects of it. A behavioral aspect is to encourage your partner to meet other people, have affairs, allow yourself to feel jealous so you can work on identifying the irrational thinking, the musts and shoulds that are causing it, and work on that in the situation. So that's another way to work on it.
Right. Yes, you could have the situation where person A encourages person B to see other people, and this has the effect of making person B panicky about the security of their relation with person A. In fact, that sounds like a good idea for a Hollywood romantic comedy.
Yes. And this behavioral recommendation is not so different from other behavioral recommendations for emotional problems. For example, if you have a fear of taking elevators, maybe you have claustrophobia and you think the walls are going to cave in on you, then the behavioral recommendation is to take elevators rather 20 times a day.
Yes.
Or if you have a fear of heights, then travel over bridges and look down and show yourself that although it is very uncomfortable and unpleasant, it's not the end of the world. It's highly unlikely the bridge is going to collapse under you. And the more you do that while questioning your demands for comfort, the easier and sooner you'll get over that phobia. So it's the same thing with jealousy. Okay,
Right.
that's about all I had to say about jealousy. David, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think I've said the most important things that come to mind.
Okay, very good. And if you've liked our talk about jealousy and REBT, give us a like below, comment, ask questions, disagree, suggest subjects for future episodes, volunteer. If you'd like to come on and discuss a problem, David and I will cure you. And if you're a therapist and you'd like supervision from us, you're welcome to come on as a guest. Donate to Patreon to help support our podcasting. This is a podcast as well as a YouTube episode. And subscribe to the REBT Advocates to stay on the rational side of life.